Jezebel, the queen who challenged God and met a terrible end. In the ancient kingdom of Israel, a nation that had known the faithfulness of a God who parted seas, rained bread from heaven, and established his people in a promised land, something began to go wrong. At the center of that unraveling stood a woman whose name would become synonymous with corruption, manipulation, and the catastrophic consequences of power divorced from righteousness. Her name was Jezebel. She was born in Sidon, a great Phoenician city, wealthy, cosmopolitan, and deeply devoted to gods that Israel had been commanded to reject. Her father was Baal, king of Sidon, a man who had clawed his way to power through ruthless ambition. A Jezebel was raised in a world where strength was everything, and where humility before anyone, human or divine, was considered weakness. When she was given in marriage to King Ahab of Israel, it was framed as a political alliance, a union of kingdoms. No one fully calculated the cost, because what entered Israel through that marriage was not simply a queen. It was a conquest. Temples to Baal were erected in the open heart of Israel. Hundreds of foreign priests were brought in with royal funding and royal protection. And the people of Israel, who carried within them the memory of miracles, began to drift. It happened the way it always does. First tolerance, then curiosity, then devotion to something that was never meant to hold their hearts. And Jezebel didn't merely allow it. She enforced it. And she ordered the prophets of God hunted. Many were hidden in caves. Many were not hidden in time. Many were killed. But one man would not be silent. He carried no political title. He came from Gilead, rough terrain east of the Jordan, and he carried within him a fire that no queen's decree could extinguish. His name was Elijah. He appeared before King Ahab and delivered a declaration that stunned everyone who heard it. As the Lord God of Israel lives, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, except at my word. And the heavens closed. For 3 full years no rain fell on Israel. With every dry and desperate day, the question must have quietly formed in people's minds. If Baal is truly the storm god, where is the storm? God was letting the silence speak. Then came Mount Carmel. Elijah stood before the entire nation alone and spoke with the urgency of a man watching his people destroy themselves. How long will you waver between 2 opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. If Baal is God, follow him. Silence. The crowd said nothing. They had lived so long in compromise, they had lost the ability to choose. 2 altars, 2 sacrifices. The God who answered by fire would be declared the true God. The prophets of Baal cried out from morning until noon. They danced. They cut themselves. The hours stretched. Nothing. Then Elijah stepped forward. He repaired the broken altar stone by stone. He laid the sacrifice. And then, in a move that defied all logic, he poured water over everything, 3 rounds, until the trench surrounding the altar overflowed. A soaking wet sacrifice in the middle of a 3-year drought. Then he lifted his voice. No performance, no frenzy, just a man and his God and a prayer. Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known this day that you are God. The fire fell. It consumed the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, the dust, and every drop of water in the trench. And from thousands of trembling lips came the cry, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God." The rain came. You would think such a miracle would change everything. It did not change Jezebel. She sent a message directly to Elijah. By this time tomorrow, your life will be like those prophets you killed. Even the greatest faith lives inside a very human heart. Elijah ran deep into the wilderness until he collapsed and asked God simply to let him die. "It is enough, Lord. I am done." But God did not lecture him, did not shame him. An angel came, touched him gently. "Arise and eat." Back in the palace, the corruption continued, this time over a vineyard. A man named Naboth owned land beside the royal palace, his family's sacred inheritance under the law of God. Ahab wanted it. Naboth refused. Ahab went home and sulked like a child denied a toy. Jezebel's response was cold and efficient. "Are you not the king of Israel? Get up, I will give you the vineyard." Letters went out. False witnesses were arranged. The verdict was decided before the trial began. Naboth was stoned to death. When Jezebel received word, she delivered the news without emotion. "Arise, take possession of the vineyard. Naboth is dead." But God had seen every letter, every stone, every step. Elijah appeared in that vineyard, exactly where guilt goes when it thinks no one is watching. The prophecy was specific and devastating. Jezebel, the one who had engineered so much of the bloodshed, would not escape the accounting that was coming. The dogs would devour her, in the very place where Naboth had died. Years passed. Ahab died in battle, struck by a random arrow, finding the single gap in his armor. The dogs licked his blood, exactly as prophesied. His sons rose and fell. The rot continued bearing its bitter fruit. And Jezebel, now queen mother, still commanding, still formidable, remained in the palace at Jezreel. Then came Jehu, a military commander anointed with one devastating purpose: execute the judgment of God. Word reached the palace ahead of him. Jezebel did not flee. She did not beg. Instead, she composed herself. With a defiant dignity, she painted her eyes, arranged her hair, adorned herself as a queen, and positioned herself at a high window. Visible, deliberate, refusing to be hidden from the judgment riding toward her. When servants were later sent to bury her, they found almost nothing left. The prophecy had been fulfilled completely, down to the last terrible detail. The great queen of Israel, gone, and her name became exactly what it has remained for 3,000 years. A warning. These patterns did not die with Jezebel. They have appeared in every century since, in every culture, in every kind of kingdom, political, religious, institutional, and personal. Power without righteousness leads to ruin. Influence without integrity becomes a weapon. And no kingdom of nations, of families, of the human heart, built on the blood of the innocent and the silencing of truth, can stand forever. Not when the God who heard Naboth's blood crying from the ground is still watching, still counting, still faithful to every word he has spoken. The story of Jezebel is finished, but its warning is still. If this revelation opened your eyes, subscribe to Hidden Truth Behind Scrolls.